Hello students, today we are going to discuss the types of chlorination topic, Zix's law as well as the Watson's law. Now we will start with the first topic, that is types of chlorination. Now how can we apply the chlorine and what are the various types of chlorination? Okay, so we will see one by one each and every types of chlorination, that is plain chlorination, pre-chlorination, post-chlorination, double chlorination, breakpoint chlorination, superchlorination and dechlorination, starting with the plain chlorination. Okay, now plain chlorination indicates that no other treatment has been carried out. It means that neither sedimentation is done, nor filtration is done, nor screening is done, and only chlorine treatment is given, that is known as plain chlorination. Now this technique may be used for treating relatively clearer water with turbidities very less, that is 20 to 30 milligram per liter, obtained from lakes, reservoirs, etc. Now the dosage of chlorine should be such as to leave a residual chlorine of about 0.5 milligram per liter or more. It means that the dosage of chlorine should be such as so that a residual chlorine of about 0.5 milligram per liter or more will be coming to the next unit, that is the softening process. Clear? Now the next type of chlorination is the pre-chlorination. Now pre-chlorination is the process of applying chlorine to the water before filtration, or rather before sedimentation and coagulation. It means that when we applying the chlorine before filtration or before sedimentation and coagulation, then that type of chlorination is known as pre-chlorination. Now why we need to provide the pre-chlorination to the water? To improve the coagulation process as well as reducing the load on the filters. Clear? Now what will be the dosage of chlorine in pre-chlorination? The dosage of chlorine should be such as to leave a residual chlorine of about 0.1 to 0.5 milligram per liter. It means that when we apply the pre-chlorination technique, then we need to supply the chlorine such as a residual chlorine of about 0.1 to 0.5 milligram per liter will be available in the water softening process. Clear? Now the next one is the post chlorination. Post chlorination, or sometimes simply called chlorination, is the normal standard process of applying chlorine in the end when all the other treatments have been completed. It means that the simple chlorination or the chlorination done after coagulation, flocculation, filtration is known as post chlorination. When we do the chlorination just after the filtration process, then that type of chlorination is known as post chlorination, and the dosage will be such as to leave a residual chlorine of about 0.1 to 0.2 milligram per liter after a contact period of about 20 minutes. Clear? Now the next will be the double chlorination. Now when the pre and post chlorination is done simultaneously in a water, then that type of chlorination is known as double chlorination. Clear? Now the next one is the breakpoint chlorination. What is breakpoint chlorination? It is chlorination done till breakpoint, and breakpoint is the point after which any further addition of chlorine will appear in the form of residual chlorine. Okay, now I had make a graph here in which two types of water is shown. First one is the pure water, which neither contain any organic matter nor any microorganism, and second one is the sample water, which is containing organic matter as well as microorganism. Now if pure water will be there and if we supply them with a chlorine dose, now that chlorine will not be consumed by any means, because neither organic matter is present nor microorganism will be present in that water. So all the chlorine will remain in the form of residual chlorine as it is. That's why its inclination is about 45 degree. Okay, now When we apply the chlorine in our sample water, what will happen? At the initial phase from this point, that is from O to A, what will happen? Bacteria killing or microorganism killing will be done. It means that during the O to A process, bacteria killing will be done slowly and slowly. Now, after bacteria killing, what will happen? From A to B, the organic matter which is present in the water, the organic matter which is present in the water will decompose due to chlorination. Okay, now this graph is come suddenly down for very short duration, that is like this, that is only like this. For very short duration, organic matter decomposition will be there. Okay, after B point, all the microorganisms will be removed from that water, that is shown here, and all the organic matter is also decomposed till B point. Okay, now after B point, if we add any chlorine in that water, then that chlorine will appear in the form of residual chlorine as it is. Okay, now the point B is known as break point. This point B is known as break point. It is the point after which if we add any chlorine in the water, it will appear in the form of residual chlorine as it is. Okay, that is known as breakpoint chlorination. Done. Now we will see the superchlorination. Now superchlorination is generally done during epidemics, okay, without any exact dose calculation. It indicates chlorine treatment in huge amount, around 5 to 15 milligram per liter to the water, and generally done in case of highly polluted water or during epidemics without any exact dose calculation. Okay, during flood situation, when there is all around water and that water is not fit for drinking purpose, now we don't have enough time to calculate the exact dose of chlorine in that water. So what we will do, we will just supply them with large amount of chlorine in that water, so that at that instant of time that water will become fit for the drinking purpose. Now when the condition or when the situation generally settle down, or when the flood goes out, okay, now the condition will be stable. Now when the condition will become stable, we need to remove the excess chlorine from that water, and for the removal of excess chlorine, what we generally do, we will need to do the dechlorination process. Now dechlorination means removing the chlorine from the water. Okay, if we do the superchlorination without any exact dose calculation, when the condition is stabilized, then we need to remove that extra chlorine from the water, for which we need dechlorination, and it is generally required when superchlorination has been done. Clear? That is the dechlorination technique. So we had studied plain chlorination, pre-chlorination, post double breakpoint, super and dechlorination. Clear? Now we will see the determination of chlorine by orthotolidine test. That is the orthotolidine test. Now it is a test conducted to find out amount of residual chlorine in water. Now how can we take the amount of residual chlorine in water? We just take the 10 ml of chlorinated water sample and add it with the 0.1 ml of orthotolidine solution. Okay, after adding orthotolidine solution in that water, you will observe the yellow color in that beaker. Okay, and compare it with the standard color chart. During the first 5 seconds, the yellow color which will be present in that beaker will be compared with the standard color chart, which will give the free available chlorine residual, that is HOCl and OCl negative quantity. Okay, now you just wait for another 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, the yellow color which will be appeared in that beaker will give you the total chlorine residual, that is chloramines, HOCl and OCl negative. That is the orthotolidine test for the determination of free available chlorine and for total chlorine residual. Clear to all? Now we can move to the next topic, that is Chick's law. Now Chick's law and Watson's law is very important, because in GATE 2019 two questions had been asked from this topic only. Okay, so This topic is recent topic and question had been asked from this topic in 2019 only. Okay. So Chick's law generally says that consumption of chlorine in water follows first order reaction, that is rate of killing of bacteria is directly proportional to the initial present concentration of bacteria. Now the initial present concentration will be shown as N naught, okay, and the bacteria remaining after T time will be shown as NT. So the rate of killing of bacteria, that is dNT upon dt, is directly proportional to NT. Now we don't go for the derivation portion because derivation is not important from the gate point of view. We just need to take the final formula of Chick's law, which will be equals to NT equals to N naught e to the power minus KT. N naught will be the initial concentration of bacteria that will be present in that water, that is 100%. K is the rate decay constant, T is the time, and NT is the microorganism remaining after T time. Clear? That will be the Chick's law. Next one will be the Watson's law. Watson's law generally says that CNT, that is the concentration to the power n into T, is equals to constant. It means that C1 and T1 equals to C2 and T2. And for chlorination, the value of n is generally equals to 1. So we can say that for chlorination, the formula will be equals to C1 T1 equals to C2 T2 is equals to C3 T3 and so on. Okay. Now one note is there, if percentage killing of bacteria is same, if percentage killing of bacteria is same, if in question it is mentioned that for 99% of killing of bacteria, okay, now two cases will be there, for both the cases 99% of killing of bacteria will be there, then only Watson's law can be used for the determination of either concentration or for the time. And if rate of killing of bacteria, or if killing of bacteria, that is percentage of killing of bacteria, is not same, suppose that in one case 99% killing will be there and in another case 90% killing will be there, then we have to use both Chick's law as well as Watson's law. Okay, so we can summarize this, that Chick's law will be equals to NT equals to N naught e to the power minus KT, where NT is the microorganism remaining after T time, N naught is the initial microorganism in the system, K is the rate constant, T is the time, and Watson's law will be equals to C1 T1 equals to C2 T2. Now if percentage killing is same for both the cases, then only Watson's law can be applied, and if percentage killing in both the cases will not be same, then both Chick's as well as Watson's law will be used for solving that question. That is all about the types of chlorination, Chick's law and Watson's law. Thank you very much, students.